When you hear the words horseback riding, what comes to mind? If you ask someone who is unfamiliar to the world of horses, you might get responses such as a rich person's sport, riding cute ponies, and every equestrian's favorite, don't you just sit there. Our goal today is to squash these stereotypes because riding is not as easy as it may seem. Not all riders are rich, although that will come in handy. Ponies are not baby horses, and no, the horse does not do all the work. In fact, many consider horseback riding to be one of the most difficult sports of all time.
Let's begin by talking about the difference between a pony and a horse. As previously mentioned, ponies are not baby horses. Baby horses are referred to as foals and can also be referred to as a colt for a male and a filly for a female. Then what's a pony? A pony, in its simplest form, is a small horse. Horses are measured in hands. Each hand is 4 inches. A horse must be 14.2 hands in order to be considered a horse. So a horse that stands at 14.3 hands is a small horse, but not a pony. Currently, the smallest pony in the world is Einstein, who stands at a mere 5 hands tall, which is only 20 inches. The largest horse is named Jake and stands at 20 hands tall. That's 6'11". We won't bore you with the technicalities about measurements any longer, so let's explore the actual sport of riding.
The most common styles of riding are English and Western. With each style of riding comes a common stereotype. English riders are usually seen as stuck-up, snobby people. While sometimes this might be true, not all English riders are like this. For instance, at Julie and I's barn, it is completely unacceptable to be arrogant and unsupportive of other riders. When we travel to other barns to participate in horse shows, we hear a lot of riders acting spoiled, but this is definitely not true for every English rider. On a more humorous note, the stereotype that all Western riders are cowboys, despite what a lot of people might think, is not true. This may be how Hollywood portrays it, but truthfully, there are a lot of non-cowboy Western riders even in New Jersey. Take me for example. Bet you wouldn't expect me to be a Western rider, especially because of how Western riders are often perceived.
English is a certain style of riding. This type of riding uses a certain style of saddle and bridle. It is completely different than Western riding in the way the horse and the rider carry themselves. Some people who ride English do jump courses that you most likely have seen on TV. If you have ever heard of the Devon Horse Show before, almost all of the riders that compete there do jump courses. Western is a completely different style of riding. This is the kind of riding that you see at rodeos, where the rider only uses one hand to steer and the horse is either going really fast or really slow. It is a much different discipline than English, but there are similarities in the technicalities of riding. Under the English category, there are many different types of riding. Hunter, jumper, equitation, and pleasure are the main 4. Hunter is all about how the horse looks. The rider sits in a 4 position and is judged on the horse's form. Hunter under saddle does not include jumping, just walk, trot, and canter. Show hunter is a jump course in which is not judged by time, only by form and how clean the course is. Therefore, riders should take their time getting to each jump and use the entire ring in order to be successful. Hunter hack is a lot like hunter under saddle, only it includes 2 jumps. Jumpers is definitely one of the most exciting forms. It includes a very large jump course, with 8 jumps, each being between 2 and 5 feet depending on the level of riding. Unlike hunters, show jumping is judged by the time elapsed and the number of obstacles cleared without knocking any down. So in this case, riders will cut corners as tight as possible in order to get the fastest possible time.
Sit up, 3 strides in, 1, 2, 3, jump. Beautiful.
Equitation is a lot different than hunters and jumpers. In equitation, the rider's form and ability to control the horse is what's being judged. In order to succeed in equitation, the rider must maintain a steady pace and a quiet seat.
One can do many things while riding Western. A few of the many options are barrel racing, when a rider maneuvers his or her horse around 3 barrels trying to obtain the fastest time. Pleasure, which is similar to English, and trail riding, the type of laid-back riding done on trails. Whether a person rides English or Western, or both, is completely a matter of choice and opinion.
Just like any other sport, horseback riders wear a certain type of clothing, like a uniform. However, a rider's clothing is a lot more prestigious looking than the common soccer uniform. For horse shows, English riders wear beige breeches, black tall boots, a weight-collared shirt, and a navy or black jacket. A helmet and gloves are also required.
Just like English, there are required show outfits for Western riders. There are some variations in the clothing depending on what class the rider is riding in. However, if I were showing Western, the clothes would include a show shirt, breeches with chaps covering them, a helmet, a belt, and riding boots. The clothes are completely opposite from English, and it's a much more flashy style. Western riders also wear heavy makeup unlike English riders. Horseback riding is commonly known for being a rich man's sport, but the truth is you do not have to be rich to ride. It all depends on commitment level and the barn of your choice. Another factor, despite what most non-riders think, is that you do not have to own a horse in order to ride. I've heard many people ask me if I rent a horse. However, that is simply not the correct term. If you want a horse to be considered yours, but only for a certain amount of time, it is called leasing. A lease is a good option if one wishes to spend more time with the horse and their schedule allows them to, but not fully commit to the high prices that come with owning a horse full time.
One of the most frustrating things that a person can say to a horseback rider is, all you do is just sit there. In order to become a great, skillful rider, one must put in years of hard work and practice. There is so much a rider must know to have a decent, safe ride. The amount of skills that have to be used at once can be extremely difficult. For example, when a rider is on a horse, he or she must remember to have good contact, good posture, heels down, eyes up, quiet hands, a good seat, all while completing one task. You cannot focus on just one skill at a time. They all must be used simultaneously in order to work.
That being said, the horse does do a lot of work as well. They are the ones that carry us riders and take us through whatever task we ask of them. This is yet another aspect of horseback riding that makes it so difficult. Not only do equestrians have to work on their riding skills, but they also have to be educated in horse care and health. If you think about it, someone who plays a sport such as softball only has to purchase a few pieces of equipment such as a bat, a glove, and more, and keep it in good condition. This type of equipment can be stored in one's car or garage. Horses are living, breathing animals that require constant care. Things can go wrong, which usually leads to spending lots of money on vet bills. It is important to understand common medical issues that could occur with a horse, especially when you own one. For instance, knowing the difference between a simple bug bite and a case of brain rot can be crucial.
You may have come into this class believing in some of these common stereotypes and not even realizing that they were wrong. But hopefully, you now have more knowledge about horseback riding and realize that yes, it is a sport.